Welcome back to the weekly Forex cast where I cover potential setups for the week. All right. And, coming to the end of 2023, it's interesting how things are shaping up. We had CPI, we had FOMC come out recently, and they hinted towards the cutting of rates coming. They hinted towards the cutting of rates. And with that, you can expect some dollar downside. So we saw the DXY take a big dump. So this is the weekly. We had a strong weekly close. Now the signs were pointing towards a bigger downside because if you look at the monthly, it printed this big evening star on the monthly. All right, so we started continuing to dump. So I am still bearish on the dollar. We go to the daily. We see the daily even broke down, forming a low here, breaking below structure. So the level that we're at currently is an interesting level because this is a level where price could potentially retest. At this retest, just fall from here. All right, but if it doesn't want to hold here, we could possibly see price giving a slight deeper pullback higher before falling. But overall, at these levels, I am anticipating the dollar to continue. So if it don't hold here, then we can reach maybe a retest within here, within this level of demand before continuing to fall. Because I'm definitely bearish going into 2024, and we can see price come down into these levels. Now, price basically formed some support here, right, at this level of demand. So this is where it bounced from, right, at that level of support. But the next target after this pullback, I'm expecting price to come into these levels, roughly into 101 area. All right, before then possibly pumping from there, we'll see. We just got to trade what we see. All right. The yen index is also a big week this week because we have here the BOJ press conference, the monetary policy statement. So yen had a big pump to the upside because the Bank of Japan hinting towards a change in policy. The rates have been so negative and so down on the yen for a while. So they look like they could be leaning towards the raise of some rates. All right. And with that, we saw the yen begin to pump. So I am bullish as well, looking for more potential bullish upside on the yen. And if you look at this monthly candle close in 12 days, this is forming a big morning star type reversal pattern. All right. So this is setting up for a potential bigger move up. So just looking at, let's say on the daily, all right, price had a big pump, retest of structure, another pump. So I'm looking for this to continue up, maybe get some type of pullback correction. All right, but we could be potentially setting up for another wave up. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the BOJ. I may stay out of yen pairs until about Tuesday, about Monday evening going into Tuesday, seeing how things are shaping up, and just play it from there. All right, looking at GU. So GU, looking at this on the daily, GU did continue bullish, right? Going in line with the weakness of the dollar. But now to end last week, we came to this level of supply. The price had a big fall in the past, and we found some resistance. Now, I am still bullish on GU, going in line with being bearish on the dollar. But we can see even here on GU, price formed like this big morning star pattern on a monthly. All right. So it's likely setting up for a bigger move to the upside, especially if the dollar continues bearish. But in the short term, looking at how price ended this week, we fell from that top. All right. And looking to the left, we are closing. It did close below this level of structure. Okay. So we could possibly see a slight deeper pullback before any more continued upside. So maybe a little pullback first. But overall, I think we could possibly see one more fall before price set up for another wave up. All right. That has potential. Now, if price just continues and don't break down and just continues to pump and break above structure, then we possibly can just continue from there. But the way things are looking, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another pullback down, all right, before more potential upside. So I'm just going to be watching that for another potential wave down. We'll see how things play. EU. So I actually caught some of this sell last week. EU, unlike GU actually broke that top. EU didn't break this top. It reached this level of supply and it found firm resistance. All right. Firm resistance. So on the weekly, pretty much formed like a bullish engulfing, but we could see this setup for one more slight pullback. So when I sold this on, it was based off of this rejection on a 4-hour, seeing a nice rejection close on a 4-hour. I was anticipating that to end the week bearish, and that's what happened. So now going into this week, like I said, the dollar is likely setting up for on this pullback to set up to continue bullish, but we could potentially pull up a little higher. And if that happens, you can expect EU to pull down a little further before that next bullish pump. So maybe a slight pullback, you know, because we are holding firm below the structure. Maybe one more wave to the downside before then continuing to the upside. Because we look to the left, if it pulls down in that area, it is pulling into this level of structure. You look to the left, major demand structure here in the past. All right, as well as here, found support, right, before pumping up. So that's the area that I think we can potentially see around there, EU fall into, all right, roughly around 1.85. All right, if it holds here, you know, one more wave down before any more potential upside. So that's what I'll be looking for potentially on EU. AU, so AU also, of course, is bullish. It pumped with the weakness of the dollar we see here on the weekly. Price did just form a bullish engulfing on the weekly, so that is pointing towards the bulls. But we could possibly see some slight pullback before continued move to the upside. So looking at the daily, price did in a way it slightly broke past, so it broke that high. All right, but we see here on the daily we got like a doji forming right there, a little indecision. All right, so here on the 4 hours going to be interesting to see, because initially we saw price give this bearish engulfing close back below. All right, seeing that, I was leaning towards price to set up for this corrective wave down before any more move to the upside. So now I would just watch this level, all right, because where price is currently at, all right, like around here, if price closed back below here, the chances are price is going to set up for that pullback before any more wave up. All right. But understanding that this is will be likely just a correction to set up for a bigger move up. All right. How far they want to pull back, we don't know. You know, they might not pull all the way back, but I think somewhere around here, somewhere around 0.66 could be an area to look for price to potentially pull back. All right, somewhere within here to set up for that next wave up. All right, that's a psychological level, and this also lines up with this level of support. So maybe retest that area of structure before continuing long. You know, that's the potential there on AU. Similar setup on NU. NU also, of course, continued its bullish momentum with the dump of the dollar. Now we can see here, started to give some upside. All right. Also, looking at this previous monthly candle closed strong bullish engulfing. All right. So it's likely setting up for a bigger wave up, but we may get some type of pullback first before continuing. All right. So with that, we come down to the smaller time frame, and you can see price formed pretty much this like bullish flag right here. Had a breakout. So this week, same thing. I would look at this area here, similar to AU. All right. Now, if price holds here, if price hold and just continue to pump, then you just can continue to ride that wave up. All right. But if it comes down here and closes back below this area of structure, I would expect, you know, a slight deeper pullback before any more continued upside. All right. So just measuring out what price could potentially pull. But this is likely, you know, if it closed below there, setting up for just a pullback before it goes higher. You know, I would expect this higher low here to hold. All right, gold had a massive strong pump with the weakness of the dollar as well. So we saw this big pump here on the daily. Now price is forming some resistance, all right, at that level of structure. You see, looking to the left. So that's where it rejected to end the week. We see here on the daily, we do got a bearish engulfing here on the daily. So price could possibly be setting up for a correction, a deeper pull down before the continued upside play. We see here we formed this bearish engulfing, then price just dumped from there to end the week. All right, so looking at this, I think we could give another wave down, maybe pull down towards 2,000 or so, but maybe on a slight pullback, give another wave down. Now, a lot of this depends on what the dollar is going to do. All right, now especially if we see the dollar pull up a little higher, then this type of move will make sense, but the goal to give a deeper correction before continuing up. But understanding the higher time frames is key. It's key to understanding this move and what gold could potentially do. All right. Now going to the yen pairs, looking at GJ. The yen pairs gave some beautiful plays, beautiful structure plays. All right, we could look. Again, I believe this is going to be a big week, another big week for the yen. So seeing how price ended the week, price pulled up and retested structure, retested this area of demand or support. All right, forming basically a lower high. We got a lower high here, lower high, right? We see right here, price basically formed a lower low. This is a lower high, pulled up on this retest, forming, that's a potential lower high to potentially maybe be setting up for an extension down. So we're gonna see how they're gonna develop with this monetary policy. And that's gonna have a key. Now it came roughly around 180, the psychological level. So how I will be looking at GJ this week, before the next potential setup. You can also take your counter trend line here. So price maybe pull back from here, maybe pull back towards these highs, maybe, and possibly set up there, and then we'll just see how price react. Or if price was to continue to just break below structure, break below 180, I would look to continue to just ride that wave, like on these pullbacks, continue to ride that wave to that low and potentially even lower. All right, so I really want to see how they're going to develop here, but having a nice hold below that structure is a good sign, but we maybe get a retest towards these highs, and the price still holds below there. I would like to continue to look for that wave down, especially, using the yen index, as confluence, seeing how things are developed with the monetary policy, and just play it out from there. Because this is beautiful structure right here. You can also take these. You can also measure from this lower high to this lower high, so it depends on how you look at it. But I like for this to potentially set up for another wave down. EJ, same thing. EJ was a trade that I did give out. I gave this trade out in the Discord. And you can see we had a strong dump from this level. Was anticipating that, was bullish on the yen coming up, understanding that we had a nice retest of structure here, basically retesting structure within here, and we had that big fall. All right, so I like how this daily candle just closed. Nice bearish rejection, similar to GJ. So I'm interested in how price is going to react at this level. All right, so I'm going to be basically watching to see how price react. We could potentially get a corrective play up. If that happens, maybe correction set up for another fall. All right, or price can just continue to dump. If it continues to dump, then I would just look for the opportunities to ride the wave on those pullbacks. And UJ, sometimes UJ, depending on, like, say if the dollar's bullish and yen bullish at the same time, sometimes it could range, but normally the yen pairs follow each other because the yen holds so much weight, as a safe haven asset as well. So, but looking here, could possibly set up for a bigger pullback, maybe to structure levels around here before continuing. Or if that happens, then likely most of the yen pairs may set up for pullbacks like that. But I'm seeing how price react at this level is key. If we hold here for the retest, then you can continue to look to ride that wave because we are around significant levels. All right. Where it's at now, that's a significant level of structure. So if it hold below there, then of course we can head to the next level's structure. All right. And then you also have CAD CPI this week. So expecting more volume to come into the CAD. You can see GBPCAD here gave a nice rejection here on the daily. All right. Nice, strong bearish engulfing on the daily, on a weekly, strong rejection. So I'm definitely bearish on GBPCAD. you know, on this pullback can look for an opportunity. On a pullback or retest can look for opportunity to go short. All right, you can over go to the smaller time frames. You know, if we get some type of pullback or retest in these areas, you can look for price to set up for the continued wave down. Same thing on EURCAD. EURCAD pumped at that level, but then rejected from structure, and we formed this big bearish engulfing on a daily. All right. So for me, seeing that, that's a good sign that the sellers are in control, right? That just that daily candle alone, this engulfing candle, is about 180 pips. So, you know, ideally would like to see some type of correction of that, you know, before the next wave, but it could have a lot of momentum. So it's either look for that pullback, or you could look for price to just continue to break down from here. So if it continues, right, we see we at this level of structure, continues below this structure, to look for the pullback or retest opportunity and just ride the next wave down. All right. So those are the pairs I got for you on the watch list. Be sure to like and subscribe if you are new here. I appreciate the support. Tap in with the free Telegram, you know, every once in a while, you know. I do throw some free signals in there. I do throw free opportunities. You know, just the setups I send out alone. I send out a lot of setups. You know, when I see it, give you the opportunity. Even if it's not an exact signal, you can literally take advantage of these setups and make profit. You know, they play out consistently. You just got to allow price action and market structure to show its hand. And then it becomes clear and simple when it comes to the technicals. All right. So let's end 2023 strong. And we going into 2024, man, with some momentum. And we in our bag all 2024. Let's work. Shalom, shalom.